Welcome back and welcome, first time and welcome again and again. And hey, how you doing? Homesteads and Homeschools podcast is where you have landed yourself, and here we are. And I am your host, the Liberty Hippie, here talking to you right now. This is episode number 67. So if you want to check out the show notes, you can do that. homesteadsandhomeschools.com/067. So we got it's another week of talking homeschools. So I did this once before back in, I think it's episode 19 with Shane Hazel and his wife, and did it again today. So why not, right? Sometimes it works that we can have two people on at the same time, and we'll do it because it's cool. It's cool. It's fun. I don't know whether it is or not, but I hope you guys enjoy it. Dan's the guy that made the fun little logo that you see here. He's a good dude, and they had an interesting homeschooling story, and they're kind of not in the homeschool realm right now, but I wanted to talk to them a little. Some of this COVID shutdown stuff, and seems to be working for them. Long distance learning, but it has a few things here and there that get in the way, and difficulties, and the situation is a little different than mainstream public school, but some ideas to share. So I hope you all enjoy it. So let's go plant those Liberty seeds with my guests, Dan and Cala.
I don't follow rules. I don't go to school, and I don't wear shoes. I'm barefoot and lies. I'll tell you both all those lies. You're telling me lies. You're a bunch of flies for telling me lies. But I'm weird.
My guests today, I have two of them, Daniel and Cala. And Dan and Cala host the System is Down podcast. And that fancy little graphic that you see pop up on my podcast, that is Dan's handiwork. So they're here today to talk to us a little bit about some kind of homeschooling type things. But welcome aboard, you guys. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, no problem. So to start, kind of going into high school for you guys, like what was that like? What was your public education like? Did you guys both public school, or did you guys kind of?
We actually went to the same high school.
We did. We ended up in the same place. I was homeschooled up till second grade is all, and then ended up going through the box system for the rest of it. And Cala, you were public schooled up till when?
I dropped out as a sophomore, I believe.
Okay.
Right at the beginning, I think I was a month into my sophomore year, I dropped out to be homeschooled. The plan was I could graduate early and then not be a person graduating 2 years later and then getting married, because I was sure I was going to be marrying Daniel as soon as I hit 18. So there was some other factors in there why I decided to homeschool with a family that we're friends with, the homeschools.
Cool. Do you remember any of that, Dan, when you switched out? Any of your homeschool career?
When I switched out, or she switched out?
When you switched in, I guess you switched out of homeschooling.
I do remember it. I was the youngest of three, and the other two were going in at the same time. My sister was 5 years older, my brother was 3 years older, and I just wanted to, because it was something different. I didn't realize it was probably not going to be sunshine and roses, but I do remember it, and I do remember going into it knowing, like, I had to basically sit around for a while and wait for people to catch up to where I was. It was like,
Gotcha.
I couldn't just go in and pick up where I left off from homeschooling. It was like I was onto, like, I don't know, cursive, and they were still learning their alphabet for a while.
Yeah. Good deal. I feel like I've heard that before. It's hard. When you're homeschooled, you can kind of move at your own pace and do your own thing, and then you have to go get on the same page with everybody. It's like, what? Where? All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it wasn't all sunshine and unicorns and rainbows and dolphins and.
It was not. Found out quickly that the world is not the kindest of places, and
yeah.
I didn't make friends easily.
Yeah, I hear you. And what about you, Kayla? So you dropped out of high school. Did you end up homeschooling kind of a little bit, or?
Yeah, I dropped out in order to homeschool. Mostly because I felt like it was a giant waste of time in public school. And of course, I wanted to get married as soon as I turned 18. So I wanted to have been graduated a year, if that makes sense, rather than graduate, marriage, boom. So where was I? I had a train of thought.
Sorry. So when you, I guess when you dropped out, then you actually did do some schooling, or was it like did you have like parents helping you? Or was it like you kind of self-directed, or how did that play out?
Yeah, we actually, close friends of ours, you had talked to him, Mike Barnhouse, his family were homeschooling, and his children were homeschooled, I think his oldest since elementary days, and his other kids the whole time.
Right.
They have 4 children. So I started with them and kind of just chose what my curriculum would be, and went from there. I ended up graduating. I got a GED because it was kind of a weird time. So graduating as a homeschooler, especially when I only did 2 years of homeschooling, just felt disingenuous. And I had to have that piece of paper that said, I have a 7th grade level education. So no, I'm joking. But.
Yeah. Hey, did you do any college stuff afterwards eventually, or?
Yeah, right away. The following fall, I took a few classes, gen eds at a community college, and I think I might have 2 full years under my belt for that, but
Yeah.
it wasn't for anything I'm doing.
I have a semester and a half grand total. I had a family to raise by that point, as we know.
Was that anything in your field of work now, I guess?
For me?
Yeah, you're.
I did take some Photoshop classes, and I got a 100% on every single class, on every single project, because I had already taught myself how to do it. And it was a lot of starting from, hey, this is how you turn on your computer, old people. And so it was kind of in the field of work that I am now in, but it didn't help much.
It's community college.
Yeah.
I think at the community college or wherever, unless you're really, really specialized and into some of those higher level classes, kind of, I don't know. I think it's a general thing, most people take these classes and don't use them. How many people end up with their degree and doing what they're doing, but, all right. Curious, high school for you, Caleb, before you dropped out, was it something you enjoyed, or was it like one of those, I can't wait?
Well, I don't know. It's hard to think back on that stuff. Overall, I think I hated it. I had a boyfriend there at the end that had cheated on me, and everything.
It wasn't me.
No, it wasn't him. I had it. Everything matters a lot in that. It's our world in our head right there. So I'm, a sophomore with a boyfriend that cheated on me with a girl that I was in classes
Also not
with.
me.
He's not the girl either. No. And I noticed that so many of the teachers gave tons of time to class clowns. I noticed that I was learning a lot of information that wasn't really, I felt like it wasn't necessary. Honestly, I think I went through a major depression and was just like looking for a way out.
Gotcha. I know. So down the road a little bit, you guys have a couple kids, and how old are they now? Or what grades are they in, or whatever?
Yeah, they're 9 and 11, and I'm not really sure their grades.
Yeah.
Or fluid.
I'm pretty sure my daughter is claiming 6th grade and my son 4th.
That's how it goes with the school sometimes, I know the grade or know the age, but knowing both is tricky things.
Yeah. Well, they've got like a foot in both. So some of their classes are in 6th grade, some are 5th. So it's like, which are you claiming? It's the majority. Majority of classes is where they claim, but I just lose track.
Yep. That's all right. They're their names, and that's good enough. So did you guys start homeschooling them at all, or did you go straight to the public school, or what was that thought process like when they got to that age?
you can answer, Daniel.
Oh, thank you. We started out homeschooling, then we did it for, what was it, 2 years? All right. Well, I don't know why you tell me to go, and you disagree with my answer. We homeschooled them for 2 years, and then we moved them straight into a very strict public school, a Catholic school, and
He's lying.
public Catholic. I'm just going to give the fake news, and you can correct me wherever you like.
Great.
All right, back to you, Kayla.
Okay, so they were probably each around 1.5, whenever you can start working on letters.
Mhm.
When I considered a homeschooling routine as far as what I did to teach them, and focus on reading and writing. And then as they got older and more inquisitive, then we would add in some science. And I'm going to be honest, we used a lot of public television. So PBS, we would kind of follow along. And if Sid the Science Kid is learning about rainbows, well, holy shit, that's what we're doing.
Rainbows.
Like, seriously, we would draw pictures of rainbows. I would try to find a prism and, oh, look, we can see the rainbow. So I modeled it kind of day after day. You know all the letter sounds, then let's keep going. So they both learned to read around 3 years old, which I was really excited about, especially because my son did too, and he's 2 years younger. And everybody said, oh, your daughter started reading at 3 because she's a girl, you know.
Yeah.
And there's no way. Boys just don't do that. They don't pay attention. So he started reading around the same time. I was pleased by. And I don't know why I have sound on my computer sometimes.
It's mine, actually.
Oh, it's
Should
yours.
go through my audio.
Okay, you should turn it. Okay.
It's fine. The
Sorry
people
about
can't
that.
Hear.
Yeah, so I homeschooled them for real when they're school age. You know, I homeschooled for, I think, until they were in 2nd grade.
Okay.
So, Daniel, he found some of the work that he had them do.
This was Kayla had me do our daughter's homeschooling one day, and so I wrote up this story, and it says, circle all of the verbs in the story. If you don't mind, I would like to share.
Yeah, please feel free.
The silly kitten loved to play basketball. All of his friends would come over to his house and play basketball in the road. The kitten's mommy told him to not play in the road because they had a perfectly good driveway to play in, and it wasn't safe to play in the road.
Run-on sentence.
Exactly. That's not the point. You're supposed to circle the verbs. There's got to be a lot of verbs. One day, the kitten's friend, Simon, came over and said, hey, let's go play in the road. Luckily for the kitten, he was better at listening and obeying the rules than Simon was. The kitten played basketball happily in the driveway, and if Simon had listened, he would still be alive. The end.
I have to say, I was expecting more carnage at the end than just Simon, but well done. Well done. It's
homeschooling.
How
It probably
old
would have
was
gotten
she? She
progressively worse.
was probably 5 or 6.
Something like that. Yeah.
Hey, it's all right though, right? I mean, like that's the beauty of it. Like you can have fun with that, and like you can give your kids like that quirky sense of humor that you have that like is only funny within your house or like within your, the few people that like know you and get it. And we've had that sometimes. Kids will say things that they kind of pick up from us that's amusing, and nobody else finds it amusing, and it's just awkward and weird. But
Our kids have, especially our son, has a weird fascination with death, and I was the same as a child, so it's whatever.
All good. So, how long before you put them in public school? Then 2nd grade, about somewhere in there. Is that right?
Yeah,
1st grade?
private school actually.
Oh, yeah. I got confused. Public, private schools. I didn't know, or Catholic, whatever.
No Catholic.
Actually, none of that's true.
Oh my gosh. No, they're here at a private school now. And it is a Christian school, but it's not, it fits in with us pretty well. They're a little more conservative, but I'd rather err on that side and say, well, we don't celebrate Sabbath on Saturday, even though they say biblically this is why, they go through it. But so we correct our children backwards from that a little bit, but I'd rather go that direction than the opposite way.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, and you asked what ages they were. Honestly, I think this is their 4th year that they just completed, and my daughter is 10. She would have been 6. so sooner than I remembered. So
How was that transition for them when they went in? Did they take easily? Were they behind? Did they beat on the other children? Like, how did that go?
it was great. It was great. I got to help. In those days, I helped out twice a week, every morning from so I dropped them off, but I'd stay there until lunch. So 11:30 twice a week. So I got to be right there and be a part of everything and know what they're learning, help them learn still while helping other children learn as well. And so my daughter would have been the one who really knew homeschooling because, I mean, we fought like cats and dogs. She'd end up crying in her bedroom, and so would I, because math is neither of our
I'd be in the
strong
middle
suits.
between them, just doing the work. Like, let's just get this over with.
Yes. Yes.
No. So
2 + 2 is 4.
the transition was perfectly fine. I was going to homeschool my son one more year because I didn't think he was ready. So for the school, I think you have to be entering first grade at the time. You had to have been entering first grade, so you had to know how to read really well because it's self-directed, it's pace work. So you are independent, you have a goal, and if you need help, then you can get help from a teacher. But overall, you need to be able to read the material yourself.
Right.
And my son was pretty young and younger than all the other kids who were in it. So when I took my daughter to test in to see where she was at, I was happy to find out she was above public school standards and she was, perfectly fine to enter where we expected her to. And then the teacher said, "Why don't we go ahead and test your son?" So she had noticed, that he's bright. And so she tested him and he made it too. So
Good deal.
yeah.
Good deal.
And he's been 2 years ahead of public school and she's been 1 year ahead of public school, which means that she's only 1 year ahead of him.
Smarter.
And it makes her very angry because she wants to be a full 2 years ahead based on her age.
I think he's going to slow down. So he seems to be slowing down lately.
He has slowed down some. I think he's like at 1.5 years ahead now. So that's all right.
Less enthusiastic about it than he was when you first get into something new. So
Yeah.
it tapers down a little.
It all, I mean, unless you're like really like Doogie Howser smart, like I think it all kind of catches up in the end, get out at the same time and figure it out.
None of it matters by that point.
For the most part, right? Here we are. All right, so they've been in public school for a little while now. They're liking it. Or private. I keep saying public, private school.
Okay.
Whatever it is.
It's in the public. They're in the public, right? They've got 30 other children to be around.
It's
well,
like a
not now.
one-room schoolhouse type setup where everybody works at their own pace with 1 or 2 teachers that can come around and help everybody in every grade. So it's nice.
So there's 30 kids in like the school.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. They always lose some throughout the year to moving away or whatever. So they
COVID.
I think they probably have like 24 or 25 enrolled at this point.
Okay. All right. And okay. So how does that work then? Like just like you would expect it to, like a little house on the prairie type thing, or
Yeah.
like what's okay?
Well, since the quarantine, they've continued doing their work here at home, and they can work on their own for the most part. And our daughter has like a tutor that she calls once or twice a week, and gets
Now that
help with work.
tutor is public school. That's a
Right.
resource that I learned about through the state. So
Right.
that is separate.
But for the most part, 90% of what they do, they can just do on their own anyway. And they just ask us if they have any simple questions. And
or
so,
reading comp
yeah.
questions.
The whole public school system is so flawed. Like these kids are able to, you give them the work and show them what to do. They can do it rather than them having work all day long at school in a million different downtimes and then coming home and doing work all night long. Like, why don't we just like teach them things that are important and let them figure it out?
Yeah, and that's it, right? If you teach them how to figure things out, like you teach them what YouTube is, and they can figure out anything. And it's like, but so you guys then, what would their typical day sort of be like at school?
I wanted to let you answer one, Daniel.
No, I just answered the last
Oh,
something
okay.
or other.
He's gonna say they go to mass, they take communion,
Go to school.
pray.
There's the
Get
where
whipped
the
by the
nun whips them with the ruler.
No,
There's
nobody's
all
singing.
the essentials.
Okay, so they show up. 8:15 is the tardy time, so I usually get them there by 8:14. We run in.
I get
That's
them
true.
there by 8:10 when I take them, but
Well, congratulations.
whatever.
So they run in and they have desks line the perimeter of the schoolroom. The teacher sits at the far end in the middle with her big desk. And when I say teacher, she's more like a schoolmaster because she runs the whole entire school. She decides where their goals are, what curriculum they use if they need to do better with parents. I mean, you know, in tandem. And she's a very good woman. Like I could say a lot for her character, very calm and loving and just the kind of person that needs to be in that position because I could not do it. So that's where she is, and all the kids, when it's time, everybody yells, "Hey, time, school's starting, let's go, let's go, let's go." They all get in front of their desk, they're standing. She gives them, they quiet down. She gives them some updates, things to think about or be careful about clogging the toilet or certain updates that they need to know. So-and-so, you need to actually clean for your chore. We noticed yesterday after everybody left, it still looked like shit. Okay, they do not cuss. They're very good people.
Toilets look like shit.
No, so she gives the announcements and then they pray. Oh, they also will discuss integrity issues if they need to. If there gets to be some drama like happening in the past or recent history, she'll talk about integrity. And the school is really a lot focused on character, which I love that perspective and that angle where they go from everything that way. So then they say a prayer. Hats off, you can't wear a hat when you pray, all the things. And then as soon as she's done with the prayer, then they all sit down and they're at their desks. Ooh, knock over my drink. They have a goal chart. So I think they have preschool now too, some preschool kids. And they have a goal chart. So English, math, science, and it says each day on their chart, pages 1 through 4, and then they X that out when they're done. And when they get done Xing all the way across, they have to get approval from her that they're done, and then they can play or read or whatever they have. But I guess I did leave out, they have a 15-minute break, morning break around 9:45, and then they eat lunch at 11:30, and they're out at 2:15. The place where they are right now does not have access to a playground, so they don't have PE, but they consider PE the parents' responsibility. So we're still able to put it on a transcript. So,
Gotcha.
We take them to the park or we have our own stuff here.
We make them do chores. That's PE.
Garbage cans get heavy, man. So how, what's the age stratification like? Is there mostly younger kids? Is it fairly even, or?
It's really even. There are some kids that are in a grade by themselves, but it doesn't really matter because nobody really knows each other's grades necessarily,
right.
Unless you're a senior.
And you don't have to do a grade for the year either. You can level up whenever you're done with your work. So it doesn't, like, if they enter a grade and they're the only one in it, that doesn't mean they will be by the end of the year.
Right. So how does that work? Does the school use like one curriculum for everybody that's then scaffolded out for, higher level thinking, or do you guys go through a catalog and say, we want to use this one this year, or what does that work?
Well, they use PACEs overall, which I understand that's kind of an old way to do things. I'm not really certain about its history, but I think a lot of people have heard of it. I think it's a thing. I don't know much about it.
It is a thing. Can confirm.
It's a thing. So that's kind of what they base it off of. And then when something changes, so maybe math comes up, and I've seen PACE math and it is horrific. If you cannot do it because they don't explain it very well, then let's switch out the curriculum. And for sure for the older grades, for biology, they've got alpha, omega, or some different curriculums. It's really just the schoolmaster, the head of the school, she knows the kids and she knows what will work for them. And if something isn't working, she wants to work with the parents to find something that will. Usually when they've changed curriculum for anything that our kids have done, she just let me know. And I'm just like, yeah, makes sense to me. Thanks. So I don't have to review it necessarily if I don't want to. So.
Yeah, it's nice. It sounds like you guys are able to have a fair bit of say into what happens, which is not something you have when you have 200 kids in a grade level.
And you can't.
Yeah. All right. So, what happens when they're done there? They just get a regular high school diploma, and same as any other private school?
Yep.
Okay.
Homesteads and Homeschools is part of the Liberty Hippie podcast network. If you like what we do, be sure to check out This Week in Liberpods, Peace Freaks, Cannabis Heals Me, and Free Markets Green Earth. We're living proof that libertarian doesn't mean washed up Republican.
What does that look like now? So you guys are, now that the whole world is shut down and you guys are staying inside your bubble, being safe and socially distanced, what does that look like for your school? They just send stuff home and you check it over, or what goes on?
That is different than public schools. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm taking over the conversation.
That's fine. That's why you're here. Yes. They're around a lot and they do their work, and then we have to look at it and it's awful, but it could be a lot worse.
Honestly, my son spent the first 2, 3, 4 weeks, I don't know, lying about getting his work done.
It's true.
And watching YouTube videos. Like, luckily they were all approved ones for the most part. Lots of Star Wars lip sync videos.
Yes.
But that was mostly my fault because I didn't want to go over it. I mean, I've gotten lazy. I used to homeschool and I went over everything 100 times, everything that needed to be done. But I have a job and I don't know how people with jobs do this. And I have a lot of freaking out to do. And so I let him to his devices. You done with school? Okay, buddy, that's great. 3 weeks later, can I check on your goals and see that you've completed everything?
Please don't.
Bad. So it's what we do for them because they do not have online access like the public schools do to their teachers. The schoolmaster did let everyone know, because she has an email list, that we could do Zoom with, like the kids could do Zoom with her if they need help. But my daughter's English teacher doesn't really know how to use technology very much. And that's kind of an area where she has a huge problem with. And just recently, we heard that the English teacher told her, well, you can be done with English this year. We'll readdress it when we can be in person, which totally understandable. But then I'm like, no, she's not going to be done. We have a tutor
paid for a year of school still, and we have to do most of the work at this point. So we're not just going to call it a day.
I understand that because she can't come here. She just lives like 5 blocks away, but her technology is not good enough to do Zoom or anything like that. So she's tried helping her via Messenger, kids Messenger, stuff like that. And she's done some of it, but I can understand it's what she's having to do back and forth is just horrific. I would hate that. So having my daughter do Zoom with a tutor through the state has been a really great experience. She's been amazing with her. So,
and how did you figure that one out? That was available to you?
Yeah. I work for a local rural school district as a communications coordinator. So I am letting all the parents know about all these things that are available to them. Of course, the superintendent passed down that information, and I've just continued to publicize it. But he just let everybody know there's a website if your children are having problems, and all these kids have access to their teachers via Zoom. I'm sure there's some teachers who can't in some ways. They're providing packets, of course, which we know. Something else I meant to tell you about ours. When the kids get to the end of each book, it's like basically a unit. So think of like a big textbook, but broken down into unit size. When they get to the end of their unit and they take a test, we take those over to the school and leave them in a specific area. And then the head teacher, she goes through and checks them all and lets us know when they're ready. So that's how it differs to public school, because it is more of a hard copy situation.
Yeah. So I'm curious, when your interactions with the public school, have you seen those communication lines open for the kids? Are they able to get in touch with their teachers and stuff, or is that kind of...
Oh man, yeah. If the teachers are not in touch with their kids, they are like freaking out. Like they're doing everything they can to make contact with the kids. And if they can't, then the principal steps in. If the principal can't, then the superintendent will step in, because it's actually required in Illinois anyway. So if you're not showing up on the Zoom calls in your classes, Google Classroom attendance, you are absent, and then we have a real problem. In those cases, I think it's actually a really good thing, because there's a lot of children in public school that are not in the greatest situations at home. So
yeah, this is true. This is true. So it's been the I don't know, the best thing, the easiest way, the most helpful tool that you guys have been using to stay in touch with your schoolmaster or your curriculum, or where you're supposed to be.
Every time it's said, I want like some anime music or something. Schoolmaster. Dun, dun, dun. Cala? I'm here for the color commentary.
I'm sorry.
Phone. Phone is the best
email
way.
Really.
Email. It's the same thing.
She stays in touch by email. And I actually started a Facebook group for our Children's Academy for parents. And I outlined on it that it's not in connection with the school, because they don't have anything official as far as Facebook. And that wouldn't be, I would hate to misrepresent the school. So, and they're aware of it, the school is, and I made sure and include on there, if you have a real serious question, we're going to send you to the school, because we don't want to become an issue here.
Yep.
You need to talk directly to them.
But not an overthrow. We don't want that responsibility.
Yeah. No, we just want to have a quick and easy place for information or discussion or ideas. Like I posted the state tutor thing, like, here's the thing you can go to. This is what we're using, or Khan Academy link, I thought it'd be a great way to share resources, but I think I'm the only one doing it.
Hey, you got to disseminate that information somewhere. Somebody will find use in it, maybe, hopefully. So. All right. Dan, you got anything you want to say? You love school.
I'd like to thank my mom for all the hard work she did in homeschooling me for 2 years, and that's it.
I feel like you thank your mom quite a bit. It's a nice thing. Nice thing you do there. So
about once a year on Mother's Day. Yes.
All right. So where I know you got your pod there that you guys been doing. Where can they go to find you or find that, or anything else you want to send them to?
Sure. Cala, do you want to?
No,
get
don't
that
look at
too?
me. I don't even know.
You can listen to our show, The System is Down, where we
Is
talk
that what
about...
it's called?
Shut up. Where we talk about all the uncomfortable topics like conspiracies, politics, and religion. You can find it on all the platforms where podcasts are sold or stolen, and you can find it at tsidpod.com. And we also have businesses and things with a bunch of websites, but just go.
Was it goulashmedia.net, right?
Yep. Goulashmedia.net. We've got goulashfilms.com. We've got mercercodenews.com. We've got a few different better hands and a couple of honeypots.
All right. I think I've given it out before, but I think I've done it .com before, and it's always .net, and I always remember afterwards, but I'm correct now. I'm right now.
Goulash. I know that they stole it.
They stole it, huh?
Because I looked it up one week. I went back the next week and it was
conspiracy.
gone. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Who else wants goulashmedia.com?
Craig.
They immediately tried selling it to me for a couple $1,000s, and I politely turned them down.
It was your brother, dude. It's your brother. But, all right. Well, I will, thanks for coming on, and I'll let you guys go there. I'm back, and so I know you've heard it before. Me mention the Liberty Hippie Network there, and you heard that little plug in there. Go check that out if you haven't already. There's some good shows in there, good stuff in there. But I hope you guys all enjoyed listening to Dan and Cala. If you want to hear more of them, you can check them out on the System is Down podcast, which I recommend you go check out. It's fun, it's interesting, it's zany and wild, and it's definitely entertaining. And help support them. You got some graphic art stuff you need done or whatever. Dan is the man to do it. So go check them out at goulashmedia.net. It's all for today. If you want to support this show, you can do that by going to patreon.com/thelibertyhippie. For, I think, like $2 a month, you get access to bonus content, which there will be following today's show. Dan's a conspiracy theory kind of guy. Just, did a documentary on the moon landing. And so we talked about that sort of stuff with them, and, just kind of fun conversation that you might find interesting. And you can have access to that for, I think it's like $2 a month, like I said. If that's not up your alley, go to homesteadsandhomeschools.com/Amazon and click through the affiliate link. It doesn't cost you anything, and I get a little kickback from that. So it helps to kind of offset some of the costs, helps to, keep things afloat. Anyway, folks, that is all for today. I hope you all enjoy this. I hope you all are having a good time out there, homeschooling your kids, and it's not too hard. But, if you have anything you want to get off your chest, you want to yell at me or whatever you need to do, you can find me on Twitter at hsandhspod, or send me an email at homesteadsandhomeschools@gmail.com. Or you can go find the Discord server as well, and that will be in the show notes. You guys can join up there, and it's rounding out nicely. Nice group of folks in there. So go be a part of that community and help spread the love of homeschooling or homesteading, some of that self-reliance and that little bit of agorism mixed into all of that and taken care of. All right, folks, that's all for today. Get out there, sow those seeds of liberty. We can all reap sheaves of freedom together.
I'm gonna ride a hustler's dream.